will host the Major League Baseball All-Star Game for the 6th time. Now, the official All-Star Game began in 1933 in Chicago, but Cleveland was also host to the forerunner to the Midsummer Classic, the 1911 benefit game for Toledo native Addie Joss's family following the pitcher's untimely death earlier that year. Baseball historian Scott Longert, author of the book Addie Joss, King of the Pitchers, was recently in town and talked about that first All-Star Game that raised close to $13,000 for the Joss family.
It was a grassroots event. Some civic leaders in Cleveland wanted to do it. Charlie Summers, the owner of the team, was a good friend of Addie's. He seemed to have 150 friends, everybody. He thought there's an open day in the schedule. Why don't we do a benefit game for Addie's wife, Lillian? And before even invitations went out, Ty Cobb wired and said, put me in. So people thought about Cobb, what a bad guy, but he felt terrible about it. He sent a giant bouquet of roses to Mrs. Joss. He put in $100 into the fund, which was what most owners put in, was $100. So he did that himself. So he had Cobb, Sam Crawford, guys from Philadelphia, Eddie Collins, Chief Bender, Joe Wood, Smokey Joe Wood played, Tris Speaker played in that game. Hal Chase, who was kind of a bad guy, but one of the great first basemen, he played in the ball game. And they played against Cleveland with Lajoie and Jackson and a 42-year-old Cy Young, who insisted on pitching the first few innings. Cy, he was a very good friend of Addie's, and he took it upon himself to be the guy to pitch. So it was quite an event. They got about 15,000 people at League Park, and Mrs. Joss got a check for nearly $13,000, which kept her going for a number of years. She got a job, went back to work, but it was a tremendous gesture, and it was an amazing game, something like 7 Hall of Famers in the game.
Joss, a fascinating individual, and Longert has done a great job of chronicling his life.